All right. Good morning. Today is daylight savings time, Sunday, November 7th, and I think all of us were pretty messed up with daylight. Well, no, I take it back. I wasn't somehow, which I always usually am, but we all kind of messed up daylight savings time. But we got Asher back this week. Tom is in the building wearing his Slant Man jersey. I don't know. How's it going, fellas? Asher, we know we missed you last week, but hopefully everything's all right. And how you doing, man?
No, I'm great. Yeah, I had a little off week last week, but I'm ready to get back into fantasy football, ready to get back into football with you guys. So I can't wait to start this week off right.
All righty. Tom, how you doing, man? I haven't talked to you since, or I guess I haven't seen your face since Monday, which is weird, I guess, for me. But how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Classes and stuff starting to pick up, so I'm just trying to get out of here, get my work done, and then talk some football on the weekend. So I'm happy to be back.
Good. The weather is changing. Like we said, it is daylight savings time today. But let's get started how we always do, and start out with the injury report this week. I'm going to announce this anyways. It has a lot to do with fantasy. So everyone knows I have Kyler Murray on my team. Luckily for me, it's the Pirate League, and I have Justin Herbert as a backup. So I will be putting him in over Kyler Murray. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on Murray, because it really does seem like he's going to be a game-time decision. And personally, this late in the year and this late in like your fantasy season, I don't think you should count on a guy like Murray right now. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because I was just asking around a lot for myself. Like I said, it's an easy choice for me because it's just Herbert. But yeah, what are your guys' kind of thoughts on that? Tom, we'll go ahead and start with you, man.
Yeah, in the TAV league, I think I have Kyler Murray, and he's now projected for 1 fantasy point. So it's looking like he's not going to end up playing, which sucks because I'm going to have to pick up a quarterback. And because we don't have injury reserve in that league, I'm going to have to actually cut someone important off my team to get it. So it's a huge blow for the Cardinals. The only good thing about it is that they get to play the 49ers, who do not have as great of a defense as everyone had hoped and expected they did this year. And Colt McCoy is a very serviceable backup, and he's able to come in at times and come in and win them games. So it's going to suck for sure not having Kyler Murray's talent out there, but it could be worse.
What are your thoughts, Asher?
So my thoughts are, if Kyler Murray plays, start him. Obviously, he's a must start. It doesn't matter if he's injured or not. He's that quarterback that will produce numbers no matter how injured he is in the game. But if he is out, don't worry about the wide receivers on that squad. I promise you, with Christian Kirk, AJ Green, DeAndre Hopkins, Rondale Moore, you put any of those guys in, somebody is destined to eat. And my 2 biggest guys on that team this week as wide receivers go is DeAndre Hopkins and Christian Kirk. You start any of those 2 guys, those 2 guys will do fine with any quarterback under the helm.
Isn't D-Hop also questionable, though?
Yeah, he's a game-time decision as well.
No, he'll start. I'm pretty sure I saw something that he was starting.
Yeah, I think he'll play. Yeah, and like I said, obviously it's different for me in this Pirate League because I have like a very good backup, and at this point I just want to get to, get a win and move on. But that's very different for obviously a lot of different teams. But let's go through the injury report as well. And yes, Tom, you're right. The thing that flagged me this morning is because all week, I was looking at the scores on Sleeper, and it was all week. It was Murray, 20 points, 21 points, 18. I think he got down to 1 point. But yes, I popped it up this morning, and he was supposed to get 2.5 points. And now he's down to 1.5. So yeah, I'm not going to play him, but I'm sure we'll get to that. And Asher, I agree with you as well. That's almost a system where receivers are good as long as you have a quarterback that can like actually throw the ball. Yeah. The receivers are gonna score. I mean, the one I would kind of relate it to now is like Ohio State's offense, where I mean Jackson, the third receiver yesterday, Jackson Smith-Njigba had like 250 yards. So those receivers won't be hurt as much. And like we kind of said, I think D-Hop's gonna play. I would be surprised if he didn't, but.
It's a feel-safe offense, to be honest with you. If you you got the running back in the backfield. Chase Edmonds does great on the flats. He does great running up the middle. You got great wide receivers. It's a fail-safe offense, so you can put any quarterback on the helm and they'll do fine.
Yeah, and on top of it, you like Colt McCoy is the backup. I mean, he's obviously not going to come in and light the world on fire, but he's like a veteran NFL backup, so he shouldn't necessarily lose you the game, but he's definitely not going to win it for you. But yeah, I mean, it's an air raid offense. We've seen it all the time in college, and this is kind of the first time we see it in the NFL. But yeah, it's a system that's good for receivers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question for the two of you very quickly because I want to get my stuff in so I can give my full attention to the show here today. For my backup, I'm picking up for Kyler. I'm debating between two guys who I have down as my sleeper quarterback later on. Tyrod coming back off injury or Brissett because Tua is listed as out and Brissett's getting the start. Which way do you guys lean?
What?
That's actually a
Tua's
really good
out?
question. Yeah,
Tua's out.
Tua is out for sure. Yeah.
I would go with Tyrod.
That's
my opinion. Asher?
I don't know. I mean, you have Tyrod and Brissett going against each other head to head. I see Miami's defense is a little more of a struggle to pass against than Houston's defense. Jacoby Brissett is a longtime backup veteran that did well with the Colts and had a few good games with Miami Dolphins, and against a weak fucking Houston defense, I think Jacoby Brissett might be the gameplay here. I think that's my pick.
I mean, he's my sleeper too, so I feel like I got to own up to my picks.
I think Jacoby Brissett is the way to go here.
I'll just play devil's advocate, and I'll disagree because my sleeper was Tua, but shows how much I know. But I in my starters I have Tyrod Taylor. I mean, we've seen what he can do with that offense. I mean, they don't have a lot of weapons. But I mean, whoever they played that first week when they got that win, they scored like 42 points. Now, I do think that's different because we're later in the season, and this obviously they know what teams can do now. But I think anyone listening to this knows who the smart people are on this show. So I would take their opinion. But like I said, Tyrod's my starter, so whatever.
My dad agrees with you, Justin.
So whatever.
Tom, you got to stop telling your dad to agree with me after last week.
That's true. I'm surprised he hasn't ripped you yet after last week.
And it wasn't even the funny part about that is too when I hadn't bet the Lions or the Browns, and then by the time your dad said something, I had to bet them, and they both lost. And as I was losing, I was just like, "Oh my god! What is going on?" All right, let's get back into the injury report. Yeah, so Mr. Bennett. Yeah, don't listen to me. Drew Lock's out. Teddy's, I think, playing. Interesting for the Cowboys. CD Lamb and Amari Cooper are both listed as questionable. Have you guys heard anything about either one of those guys?
CD Lamb is expected to play. As far as Amari Cooper, I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I hadn't heard either of them as very serious injuries. So
CD Lamb and Amari Cooper are expected to play.
There you go.
That update.
All right. AJ Brown missed Friday's practice, supposed to play. He is on a heater. I'm sure, as everyone knows. I guess differently, and it's only defense really. This is more of I'm just saying this because I'm kind of questioning it. Von Miller was supposed to make his first start, but might not end up playing this week because of an ankle injury. And then also for the Rams, Robert Woods is good to go. But this, I guess, is a kind of a question for other people out there. But I'll ask you guys, what is your take on Robert Woods this year? I mean, we've all seen Cooper Kupp. Obviously, I mean, he's going to break records, it looks like. But it's happened in the past where Cooper Kupp starts getting double teamed, and then Robert Woods ends up having a really good second half of the season. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on Robert Woods? Or I think obviously Matt Stafford's not going to go away from Kupp, but I feel like he could open up to more people towards the end of the season. But what are your guys' thoughts?
Go ahead, Tom.
I mean, I've been kind of a Woods guy, and I like Cooper Kupp now as well. I've grown to like Cooper Kupp a little bit more because I always just thought that you ever get those guys in fantasy where you take them and then they have that season-ending injury and then you never want to take them ever again. Yeah, that happened to me because I had Cooper Kupp 2 years in a row, and I'm like, oh, I stole him in the 10th round last year. He did great. I'm going to use a 5th-round pick on him this year. And then he goes and tears his ACL in training camp, and you lose your 5th-round pick. That's kind of always been my thing with Cooper Kupp. But Robert Woods is all reliable. You can always get him 7th, 8th round. He's not really going to go too much higher than that. Might be able to get him later. And he's always just kind of been there. And like I said, I'm kind of a Robert Woods guy. I'm kind of a Robert Woods fan. And Stafford has shown that he's willing to move the ball around. I mean, we've seen games this year where each of them have kind of blown up. Now, Cooper Kupp is more a consistent blow-up game, but Robert Woods has had those same performances. So I think that the whole situation is fine for them.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Tom here. I love everything you just said. The biggest thing that caught me goes, I'm starting to become a Cooper Kupp fan. The man's been lighting it up for the past 8 weeks. Now you're starting to become a Cooper Kupp fan.
I'm starting to get over my heartbreak. It's not really becoming a fan. It's becoming over my heartbreak.
Okay.
I mean,
I think with that offense, it's really hard to tell, especially with Matthew Stafford, depending on which weapon he wants to go to, because he has so many in that offense. It's about time we see a Matthew Stafford offense where he actually has guys around him like Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee, Cooper Kupp. Like he has Van Jefferson, so many guys that he could throw the ball to. You got Henderson in the backfield that can also open up on the flats. So it's hard to tell if Robert Woods, he's a boomer bust play at any week. Either Matthew Stafford decides to go to him and go to him heavily, he has a boom week. If he decides to go to Cooper Kupp and maybe Tyler Higbee and stick to the run game, then it's tough. So I see Robert Woods as a boomer bust play every week as the season goes forward.
I got you.
Fair enough.
All right. Move back to the injury report. Rashad Bateman, questionable, but he's expected to play. Sammy Watkins, also a game time decision, but both with a good shot to go. Sam Darnold, clear concussion protocol. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. He'll work out pregame, see how it goes. I don't think that matters to anyone other than, I guess, maybe Christian McCaffrey people, which, I mean, I guess we'll have to get to that too. Did he get activated this morning?
McCaffrey?
Yeah.
He was cleared to practice all week. I don't know if he got activated this morning, though.
Okay. I
thought I saw that he was going to play.
Yeah, Tom, you want to talk about your heartbreak with Cooper Kupp? I mean, it's been the same thing. There's got to be one guy out there that has drafted Christian McCaffrey every single year and just gets his heart broken every single year.
And then gets the I still only have his status is to be determined. I don't have a full.
Big news: George Kittle is expected to play, but will have a pitch count versus the Cardinals.
Pitch count, okay.
That's why I didn't put him in, Justin.
That somewhat makes sense. All right. You guys can obviously hop in if you see any news by yourself as well. I wouldn't play anyone on the Browns offense this week, but DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones is probably going to play. And Clowney and Ward are good to go. That's actually big for me. I guess more just your quick opinions. What are you guys' thoughts on the Odell Beckham situation in Cleveland? Tom, start with you.
Have you looked at the waiver wire order at all, either of you?
Yes. All I've been saying is I just hope to God that one of the New York team picks him up.
There are only, I think I saw 9 teams or like 7 teams that actually have the cap to claim him off waivers. The Jets and Giants, and then this is before they make any moves to open up space or anything. The Jets and Giants are not on that list, either one of them. But what pisses me off the most is the Jaguars are one of those teams, and they pick, I think, 4 right before the New York teams. So, like, would it be
have the cap though?
That's what I'm saying. They're one of the teams that have the cap to take him right now as is. And it really sucks because I want to see OBJ go to a team and help them like get to the playoffs and contend. Jacksonville is not it.
I don't want to.
I know you don't.
I don't want to see him do that at all. I pray to God he goes to Jacksonville. I hope he goes to my favorite place forever that he could go would be Detroit. I would be so happy if he went to
I don't
Detroit.
think they have the money, actually.
I think Detroit has the cap. I think Detroit has the cap.
Do they?
I think so.
I don't.
Bro, imagine. Imagine.
Yeah, but the other thing with that is those bad teams probably aren't even going to work. It's not worth picking up Odell Beckham, like especially the Jaguars. I mean, they are really stupid, and it is Urban Meyer, so I wouldn't put anything past them. But organizationally, you have to look at that and be like, we have a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach. This cannot go well. So I don't know. OBJ, this is just my opinion. He's just not as good as he used to be. He's still a top probably 25 receiver in the NFL, but he's not as good as he used to be. He has durability concerns. And while I don't think Baker Mayfield did a lot to help Beckham out, and the Browns have played better without Beckham, Baker is not like free from scrutiny from this. But you have to look at Odell Beckham and be like, he's gone now to two different teams, and he has forced his way out of two different teams. So I don't know. I don't know if anyone will pick him up through waivers. Someone's going to pick him up if he clears waivers. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But I wouldn't put any stock in Odell going forward as a receiver unless he goes to like Tampa Bay or the Rams, but which is very possible.
I have to disagree. I think that OBJ still has the talent and the durability to get the game done. I think the problem with him in Cleveland is that Baker likes to pass to wide receivers right when the safety's about to fucking just take their heads off. Like, he likes to throw suicide passes on the daily. That's what he does. As long as he can get the ball into the wide receiver's hands, he doesn't care where he throws it. I've seen that a lot in Baker and OBJ. As long as, I see him as more of like a flimsy wide receiver, but he can still make plays with the ball as long as he can, move around defensive backs. If I'm Baker, I'm not throwing a suicide pass to OBJ because he's going to get taken off the field real quick. But the two team favorites that I have for picking him up are the Saints and the Seahawks. Those are the two teams I see picking up OBJ at this point. I think OBJ could do well in both systems. I understand that the Seahawks have TD Lockett and DK Metcalf, but even with OBJ in that system, you bring Russell Wilson back, Seahawks finally have a playoff-bound team after Russell Wilson being out for 5 to 6 weeks. Seahawks could come back from that with OBJ in that offense. Russell Wilson's not going to be that suicide passer that Baker is. I could see that team taking off with OBJ.
Yeah,
I don't wholeheartedly agree with that because I don't want to sit here and say OBJ is the reason the Seahawks are going to make the playoffs or not, because that division is brutal. They're in the division with the Cardinals and the Rams right now, and the 49ers, who are still somehow keeping afloat. So to say that like OBJ is going to turn everything around, that's great. But like, what's their record right now? Are they even in contention still? Because I know the NFC is loaded. So you have to be like God tier.
I think they're 4-4 or 3-4 or something like that. But
so hypothetically speaking, he could pull him out of the rut. But is Russ a guy that's known to spread the ball around to anyone, or is he a guy that forces it to Lockett in the end zone and DK in the open field?
Yeah, but that's the thing though, is that it depends on who the defensive backs are trying to hoard at the point. But if you put OBJ in the slot where he thrives, especially with New York, you could spread the defensive backs anywhere, and he could get the ball to anybody at that point.
OBJ, to me right now, I mean, if there's one person that's pissed out there that OBJ is getting released, it's Deshaun Jackson, because Odell Beckham, in my eyes, is basically Odell Beckham is basically a rich man's Deshaun Jackson. Like he'll catch if he goes somewhere with a good quarterback, he'll probably put up 3 or 4 touchdowns by the end of the year, and they'll all be bombs. So I agree with that. And like I said, Baker's not clear from scrutiny for me, but it's also and we should have seen this coming, but Odell's never a good fit, and it was never going to be a good fit in this system because it's a timing system. Odell is more of your free runner, and that's like Tyreek Hill probably wouldn't be good in the Browns system. He just wouldn't be good in the Browns system. So it's kind of give and take, but like I do think Odell could go somewhere and have 4 or 5 touchdowns by the end of the year. And I also think that Baker's not free from scrutiny, but I don't think it was ever going to work out with Odell in Cleveland. So I think someone is like, if the Saints pick him up, I agree with you, Asher. Someone's going to pick him up, which is funny because you said the NFC West. Like I can imagine every single team in that division picking him up.
I see the Saints being the favorite target here, especially with Michael Thomas being out for the rest of the season. They need that big bang wide receiver, especially with their star quarterback going down. I think OBJ would fit well in that system. It just matters how long he can stay durable. I agree with you there.
I think the Saints.
Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, my bad. I think the Saints are probably the best landing spot for him at this point in time, other than the Packers. And the Packers are I was looking into their cap situation, man. Looking into the cap situation, they're going to have to do a lot to get him into Green Bay. But if they truly are all in on keeping Aaron Rodgers a Packer for life, this is the kind of move that they're going to need to make.
See, and that's something that
they're lining up to do it, man.
That's the thing that sucks. I was hoping nobody said the Packers because I could see OBJ landing on the Packers. I've seen his name linked to the Packers quite a bit. And Aaron Rodgers with OBJ and Devontae Adams, there's no chance any team in the NFC North has a chance for that division.
Right, because Aaron Rodgers, we know, is a guy that will be sharing the ball around. He shares the ball around to Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Geronimo Allison when he was still there. St. Brown. He gets Randall Cobb involved. If you were to line up against Devontae Adams, Odell Beckham, and Randall Cobb out of the slot, like that is just something. Or if you want to say MVS on the outside, move Odell to the slot, like you were saying he was, thriving or whatever.
Yeah. There's no chance that is just them.
That is the perfect offense because Rodgers will swing it to anyone.
Yeah, it's a cheat code at that point.
Yeah.
So like that's where my head's at. I'm like, okay, I really want the Saints to get him, but the Packers would be a lot more fun to watch.
I see where you're getting at. I just hope it doesn't happen. That's the reason I didn't want to say the Packers. I don't want to speak it into existence.
I'm a realist.
Yeah.
I mean, I have two things about that, then we'll move on. I like him on the Saints as well. They were, I believe they were the only team that actually actively talked with Cleveland in trade talks before the deadline. But the only question there is, does Odell Beckham get along with Marshawn Lattimore, who seems to every receiver in the NFL hates Marshawn Lattimore for whatever reason. And I saw your face when OBJ was going to – we talked about OBJ going to the Packers, Asher. Yeah, that sucks. You have to deal with it for one more year. Aaron Rodgers is going to be on the Steelers next year for like 3 years, and I'm going to have to deal with him for the next 3 years. So, you made the face, and then I was like, well, I would make fun of you, but it's going to be worse for me next year.
I did predict Aaron Rodgers to go to the Steelers next year. I said that a couple weeks ago. I did predict that, but at the same time, if you get OBJ in that system and you decide to keep OBJ, I think Aaron Rodgers finally decides to maybe stay in the Green Bay system with more weapons. They're finally investing in the offense. So maybe Aaron Rodgers decides, saying. This is a salivating offense now. Maybe I stay.
I don't.
That was
from the only thing I'll say about OBJ, he could very well sign with the Packers after this, but he's not staying in Green Bay. Like Odell is at the point of his career, in my opinion, where he wants to go to a Miami or an LA or a New York, or he wants to maximize all his stuff.
I think he wants to go to a team.
I don't think he does. I really don't think he wants to. I don't think that matters to him.
He's not approaching retirement. If he was approaching retirement, I would agree with you, but he's not. I think he still has more years to play in him. And I feel like if you have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams in your system, I think OBJ sees that opportunity like, oh my God, I could finally get some more rings with these guys.
Yeah. I mean, I also don't know how well OBJ would react to being the number 2 receiver behind Devontae Adams.
any wide receiver would be willing to stay with Devontae Adams because
You say that.
Devontae Adams,
I've dealt with OBJ here for 3 years. I don't think he's okay being with the number 2 guy anywhere. I really don't.
Devontae Adams is going to be double teamed. You got OBJ on the outside, one-on-one with a defensive back. I see his mouth salivating at that point.
I agree. I just don't think OBJ thinks that way. But we can move on. Tom, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just got Ian Rappaport tweet come in with some inactives and inactives. Sammy Watkins is out, and Malik Reed is also out for the Broncos. Odell Beckham, whatever. That I want to get for the Panthers, Sam Darnold and McCaffrey are both active for today.
Sam Darnold and McCaffrey.
If anyone's trying to start Chuba Hubbard, get him out of your lineup because McCaffrey's back.
All right, good for the Panthers. Maybe they'll win a game. All right, Jacksonville. James Robinson is questionable. Urban Meyer, well-known PhD doctor, described it as a pain threshold issue. So we'll see about that. Elijah Mitchell and Debo both missed Thursday and Friday, but are supposed to play today, and that's all the injuries I have.
I also just got an update 3 minutes ago. Harrison Smith of the Vikings is now put on the COVID-19 reserve list and is out for the game today. Asher.
So I see that as if he doesn't have COVID, they're just putting him on that list because of the fact that he decided to choke out CeeDee Lamb last week. He's probably going to get suspended. So the Vikings put him on that list as like a minor punishment until the NFL decides what they want to do with Harrison Smith.
Okay. Well, I did not see that, but all right.
No, he choked him out. Like literally he tacked him on the sideline and decided to hold him down for about 10 seconds, choking him out.
There seemed to be a lot of like just animosity towards the receivers and defensive backs this year. I mean, there always is, but it just seems even.
Galladay is officially activated.
I mean,
there you go. That's big.
I like Galladay. One of the worst career moves he's ever made in his life.
Going
100%.
Giants.
Yeah,
I mean,
unless they get a new quarterback.
Detroit, in my opinion, it's better than Detroit.
See, I usually would agree with you, but at this point in the season now, Detroit's close enough where they're and they've looked bad enough where they're going to get a new quarterback next year probably. So I don't know, but
if they get a new quarterback and he can actually throw the ball, it'll be a better move, I think.
Matthew Stafford could throw the ball. He's done it like the past 8-9 seasons. Look what he's doing to the Rams right now. You can get any quarterback in that system.
I'm saying Daniel Jones.
Oh, okay.
We were talking for Galladay.
My bad.
No, I was talking for Galladay.
Okay. All right. You're right. My bad.
All right. Well, let's get into the main entree of our Fantasy Sundays, unless anyone has. Oh, I guess we will talk about this first real quickly. You're a Vikings fan, obviously. The Aaron Rodgers thing, I thought it was incredibly overblown. Mm-hmm. Anyone have any other thoughts? Asher, more than anyone, I want to know your thoughts.
Jordan Love.
I'm confused as to what Aaron Rodgers thing you're talking about. Are you talking about
the whole COVID thing?
COVID thing.
Oh, I mean, it's give or take, really. I mean, Devontae Adams was out the week before with COVID, and then Aaron Rodgers comes out the week after with COVID. I mean, it could just be a fucking move just to get an extra week out. It could actually be COVID. I don't know. Either way, it doesn't hurt the Packers. The Packers are doing just fine.
Yeah, but they have to start Jordan Love.
Jordan Love will do fine in that system.
You know, this was talked about. Like this whole Aaron Rodgers issue has been talked about. It's been the number one story in ESPN for 3 days.
Yeah. You could say what you want about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, even though I'm a Vikings fan, like Aaron Rodgers could do whatever the fuck he wants at this point. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
that's fair.
I agree. I mean, I thought it was overblown, and
absolutely, It's overblown. It's Aaron Rodgers. He's going to make any play he can. If he wants an extra time off, then he's going to take extra time off. You know.
Yeah, Tom. I'll ask you this question. I think it's funny, Tom. How much do you think McAfee pays Aaron Rodgers to come singularly on his show?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I think
'Cause I feel like they're
wouldn't be-
friends, so he doesn't pay him like too much because he wants to come on and do it. But I'm sure like McAfee's the kind of guy where he's like, dude, come on, you're coming on my show every week. Let me give you something. So like maybe McAfee does all of Rodgers' sports betting on the NFL, maybe, and we just don't know. But
I did not realize that Aaron Rodgers is also an anti-vaxxer.
See, okay, so you did okay. That was the whole story.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I just saw that just now.
Okay, all right, yeah. Then maybe figure it out. Maybe we'll ask you next week. Then I know you're over wherever you are, but yeah, no, that's why I was surprised by your reaction because I was
My
like,
bad.
no, you're good.
I didn't realize he was an anti-vaxxer.
Well, that's the whole point. He's not an anti-vaxxer. He's immunized. But yes, no, that it was the biggest story on Friday for like the full day, and I was like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. But
yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, all good. All right. Oh, that's all I want to talk about. Let's get into our stardom, sit-em, and sleeper.
Yeah.
If everyone's ready for that.
I will just throw out one question before we do anything. If the Saints go out versus Atlanta, fall flat on their face, will we see a Phillip Rivers to New Orleans signing this week?
No.
They've been talking about it.
I don't see it happening.
Yeah,
Phillip Rivers has
Rivers talked about it.
The man has 12 kids. He's in retirement. He decided to flirt with the situation, but I doubt he goes through with it.
Is he up to 12 now?
No, he's not. But
I would not be surprised if he was up to 12 now.
He's pretty damn close.
The only reason that
I knew he had 9.
The only reason Phillip Rivers was brought up was because he made the news. Like, no one asked the Saints about him. They asked Phillip Rivers if the Saints called, would he be interested? And yeah, he said yes. He's probably living in hell with his 10 children at home. So,
all right, let me ask another question then, because there was an actual signing. Jordan Love goes out, throws 3 interceptions in the first half. Do we see Blake Bortles back in the Packer uniform?
I mean, if he throws in 3 interceptions, then yes. Then yes, I see.
I am so excited to see Blake Bortles back in the league.
He's back in a Packers uniform. He's a third stringer. He's already in a Packers uniform.
Oh, he was off the team, and they flew him in and signed him this week once Rodgers had his whole COVID thing.
Okay, I mean, if he throws 3 interceptions, then yes, I see Blake Bortles coming back.
I want to see Blake Bortles.
I mean, Tom, Zach made a comment the other day, but I mean, I told him to make a shirt, even though I don't know if it's got enough juice for it because Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be back. But the boat in the bay.
The boat in the bay. I love that.
and Zach said the same thing. Zach was like, yeah, that's great. I don't know if we get maiden time and get him out before Aaron Rodgers is already back. So, all right. Well, let's do our stardom, sit-em, and sleepers. We'll start with our starts, obviously. Tom,
I forget. Did we go over how we did last week?
No, feel free to key everyone in if you know.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, then why did you bring it up?
Well, I just wanted to make sure because I had a very tough week last week. Looking at it that was tough. That was just a weird week last week. I also am still trying to get over Thursday Night Football. Did I tell you I was at the game?
You had said Monday that you were trying to get people to go.
I ended up going, and I came a little late, but I got in just in time to see Mike White throw his touchdown pass and then not see him the rest of the game because he hurt his wrist.
Smartest thing he ever did, was to get hurt.
Now
there's an air of mystery around him.
Asher, I was just telling him I went to the Jets-Colts game because it was in Indy where I go to school, and I saw Mike White's touchdown pass, and then I didn't get to see him the rest of the night. But Josh Johnson came in and threw 3 touchdown passes.
You realize back-to-back backup quarterbacks came in and threw 30-point fantasy numbers. They both back-to-back went 3 to 4 TDs with 300-plus yards.
Josh Johnson
what do you think about
came
Zach
in
Wilson
and threw
at this point?
I was just going to say, Josh Johnson just came in and threw 3 touchdown passes. Mike White threw 3 touchdown passes in the Jets offense. Zach Wilson threw 3 picks in the Jets offense. Like,
what are you supposed to do with Zach Wilson at that point?
And again, I'm not going to get started on this. We have fantasy to talk about. We can talk about this tomorrow. We can talk about it tomorrow. I'm too upset still.
All right, weirdos. All right, let's go. Stardom quarterback. Tom, we'll go with you.
Justin, you're not going to like it, but I think Joe Burrow puts up one of those Joe Burrow type days today. The Burrow has just been absolutely insane. He's playing a QB 10 right now for fantasy points. He's balled out both games last year where he combined for 722 yards and 6 touchdowns, while also added 53 yards and a score. And the Browns have struggled containing quarterbacks in 2021 with Mahomes, Herbert, and Kyler Murray each reaching top 5 fantasy finishes against the Browns. So I'm going with Joe Burrow today.
I mean, you could make a case for all 3 of those quarterbacks that they're top 5 quarterbacks in the league. So,
fair enough.
All right, Asher, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts against the Chargers.
I like that.
I think this is going to be a very air raid game. I mean, I said this every week about Justin Herbert. He likes to go in the air. And if the Chargers put up the points that I know that the Chargers can, Jalen Hurts is going to have to do the exact same thing, whether it's on the ground with his feet or throwing it up to Devonta Smith or whoever else, Jalen Reagor. Jalen Hurts might have I think he has to have a great game against the Chargers this week.
Yeah. My starter is I mentioned earlier, Tyrod Taylor versus the Dolphins. He's obviously been hurt, but they clearly, I mean, if you saw them with Davis Webb, they dummied and watered down the playbook pretty hard for him. I think they're going to probably open it back up for Tyrod Taylor. And Miami's just pretty bad. So, yeah. All right, what about running backs? Asher.
Running backs. All right, my starter running back this week is going to be – wait for it. Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones against KC. It's weird because, don't get me wrong, I have the backup running back actually going in as my sleeper pick this week. I'll get to that later. But Aaron Jones is my starter this week versus KC. You got Jordan Love at the helm. He is no Aaron Rodgers, obviously. He's not going to have the air raid type game that Aaron Rodgers usually has. So they're going to rely on the run game. And I think Aaron Jones is going to light up KC defense. I think Aaron Jones has a hell of a game this week.
I love that. Jones is also going to probably get involved with the passing game as well because Jordan Love's going to need to throw those checkdowns.
On the flats, yeah.
Love him this week all around as well. For my starter running back, he was my sleeper a week ago. I'm standing by it yet again, assuming he plays. I guess this is one where we didn't actually talk about his injury. Elijah Mitchell versus Arizona. I don't know, and I'm trying to find right now. I don't see anything as to his status for the game just yet. But if he plays, he has had back-to-back consecutive 100-plus yard games with a score in each of the past 2 games as well. Arizona is a very good defense overall. They're going to blitz a lot, but that's going to affect more Jimmy Garoppolo, I feel, because anyone can run in Shanahan's system here. So I'm going with Elijah Mitchell versus Arizona. And if he gets hurt, I'm going to be very sad.
All right, great.
Oh, I just got this news update. The Cardinals traveled both Murray and DeAndre Hopkins to San Francisco, but aren't expecting either to play.
Oh, fantastic. Now I have to find another plug-and-play wide receiver.
Maybe you should.
But I did get another update that Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel are expected to play.
All right, that's good for me.
All right, great, Tom. That's all that matters is you. All right, my stardom is Zach Moss versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville's terrible. That's all I really have to say. Jacksonville is they're not an NFL team, so yeah, Zach Moss. Wide receiver. Asher, go ahead.
Yeah, my starter wide receiver this week, and I know a lot of people are, kind of down on him because he hasn't really done much the first half of the season, but I'm going to go with Stephon Diggs against Jacksonville for the same reason you just said. Jacksonville's defense is not great. And if Stephon Diggs ever has a game to really get back in his momentum and Josh Allen really wants to establish something with Stephon Diggs, which I know he does because that's the reason Stephon Diggs went to Buffalo. Stephon Diggs should have a great game and eat against Jacksonville's defense. Stephon Diggs is ready for this matchup. I think he has. I think he has a 2 TD game. I think he has a 2 TD game this week.
This is a game where you could turn it on late in the first quarter. It's already 28-0.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Stephon Diggs. I already see it. I already see a 2 TD game for Stephon Diggs this week.
Tom.
Real quick, talking about guys with 2 TD games. If we were doing this show on Thursday before the Jet game, who else started Elijah Moore? Who else started Elijah Moore?
Elijah Moore. I started Elijah Moore.
Yes, sir. We love that.
Sirski.
I picked him up, and my friend who I'm playing, Sal. For those that know, Justin, you know Sal. Sal dropped him this previous week. I waited for him to clear waivers, picked him up, and plugged and played him against Sal, and now he blows up for the 2 touchdown game. Priceless. He was texting me the entire time.
I picked up Elijah Moore on a fob with $16. Picked him up and started him the exact same week. Got me 2 TDs. Never been
2 TDs, baby. Another guy that I could see potentially getting 2 TD game is going in tandem with Justin's quarterback. I think this is Brandon Cooks' week to kind of bounce back after having a really rocky start or rocky road there with Davis Mills in that quarterback. Miami's defense, everyone came into it, and you guys will agree with me. We came into it thinking that this was going to be an elite defense, especially versus the pass. When you had
Byron Jones,
all the corners and everything, and the safety help and all that. But little does anyone really know, and no one really thinks about it, but Miami is the second easiest matchup for opposing receivers right now. They're giving up the second most fantasy points to opposing receivers. It's the main reason I'm going with Cooks this week. We saw the chemistry that him and Tyrod had, and we saw the chemistry that led to Cooks consistently putting up 20 fantasy points per week. What was it? In the duos alone, full game together before Tyrod got hurt, Cooks recorded 5 catches for 132 yards, and what should have been a score, but they called him down at the 1 yard line. There is no talent in that, or very minimal talent in that Houston receiving room. It's going to be fed through Cooks like we saw. And I think this puts him back in wide receiver 2 range. And like I said, he could explode for a huge touchdown game if they're looking to get someone in the red zone.
Okay. I have breaking news from Adam Schefter. OBJ would like to join a postseason contender.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very breaking news there. All right.
Send him to Tampa.
Jesus, like Tampa needs any other wide receiver.
I mean, Antonio Brown already lives with Tom Brady. I mean, why not just invite OBJ over too?
They're starting a Madden NFL fantasy draft where you have the top 10 picks in the league.
Yeah. And the dirtiest players like Ndamukong Suh. All right, my wide receiver. Maybe you'll like this, Asher. Justin Jefferson. The Ravens' pass defense is really bad, especially this year. I think they'll probably put Humphrey on Thielen for the most part, just because he's a bigger body. So, the Baltimore's pass defense is terrible. I don't know how their defense works sometimes, but they have terrible pass defense. And like I said, Humphrey, who has already been beat up twice this year, which is something that's never happened to him in the past. I think he'll follow Thielen mostly, and that'll leave Diggs open across the middle. Kirk Cousins is playing, right? Isn't their center out though?
Their center is expected to play.
Oh, okay. I heard something COVID going on about there this week, so I didn't know. But Justin Jefferson's been quiet the first half, kind of like you said with Stephon Diggs. I do think he's just as good as Jamar Chase. He just needs to get the Just needs to get the ball production from the quarterback. So
Yeah, the only outs that the Vikings have are Kellen Mond, which he wasn't going to see the field anyways. Amir Smith-Marset,
I was waiting
linebacker
for you to do that,
Chaz
Tom.
Surratt, and Michael Pierce, defensive tackle, which is a huge blow. But we
That
have
does
like
suck.
fucking 3 other all-star defensive tackles. So
Well, you gave us Malik Jackson, so I appreciate that. I mean, he's not the worst. He's okay.
but he does well. Yeah, I get you.
All right, tight ends. Ashley, let's go to you first.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Dallas Goddard. Easy pick. Dallas Goddard's gonna go against Los Angeles Chargers this week. Like I said, with Jalen Hurts, it's gonna be air raid type game. Once they get into the red zone, Dallas Goddard is gonna be a favorite target, especially with Zach Ertz not in that system anymore. I saw we had him last week. Dallas Goddard still put 12 points up against I don't remember who they played last week, but this week with an air raid type offense, I feel like that Dallas Goddard is going to have a great game in the red zone. So Dallas Goddard's my start this week.
Okay, Tom.
I don't know how to feel about Dallas Goddard, man. Like I want to like him so bad. Then there are just those games where I'm just like, you're not that good. Like I can't get a gauge on Dallas Goddard. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
No. I get what you mean. He's not great, but at the same time, he's still the starting tight end. And in the red zone, I know Jalen Hurts is going to look for a big body in the red zone. So
Jalen Hurts is going to
I get that, man. It's so hard for me to get behind Dallas Goddard. I don't know why. For my starter tight end, when his starting quarterback does not play, he gets 2 catches for 11 yards. When his starting quarterback does play, he's top 10 tight end in the league in the 4 games that they played together previously. Dalton Schultz today versus the Broncos. Dak Prescott is coming back with CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper both dealing with ankle injuries. Was Cooper's an ankle injury? I know CeeDee's was
hamstring
injury.
No. CD's was in hamstring.
No, I have it right here in my notes that CD was the ankle. I knew that much, but I didn't actually realize Cooper was hurt. Michael Gallup, not sure what's going on with him because I think he tried to come back for injured reserves. But even with that, with those 2 being hobbled and not playing 100%, I think Schultz, as much as he's already been a threat in the red zone, could have an even added role in the red zone. So I'm expecting him to go back to getting 70 yards and potentially a touchdown like he was before Dak got hurt.
Okay, great. It's a great pick. Just a good pick for me here. Dawson Knox versus Jacksonville. Once again,
he's out.
Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah. Amari Cooper is hamstring. CeeDee Lamb is ankle. My bad.
I'll go with Dan Arnold. I'll go with Dan Arnold of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Dan Arnold. He led the team in receiving. Let's go.
He's the only receiver on that team other than Laviska Shenault.
Marvin Jones.
And Marvin Jones. But Marvin Jones is hurt, right? I don't know. All right.
No, he's playing today. I have that here.
All right, let's do rapid fire defenses. Asher.
Oh, shoot. Rapid fire defenses.
Okay. Don't worry about it. Tom.
Pittsburgh, Monday night versus Chicago. Justin Fields is going to have a fit.
Okay. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills defense versus Jacksonville.
And I'm also going to go with the Steelers against Chicago. It's going to be a great game. Either way, I think Steelers eat.
You guys are wrong there. Mine's a better pick. All right. Yeah, mine's a better pick. Jacksonville's the worst team in the NFL.
Going up against the Bills, who are arguably one of the best.
That's why mine is the best. All right, let's go to our sit-ems. I'm going to go ahead and start this one out. Sick of getting my answers taken. All right, I'm going to go quarterback. I'm sitting Mack Jones. The Carolina pass defense is ranked 2nd in the NFL. Is Gilmore playing? I heard he was playing. Did he play last week?
He did.
Okay, so Gilmore's playing. And
revenge game.
Gilmore got a pick last week, too.
Yeah, it's a revenge game, obviously. That was my main reason for picking him. But yeah, no, and he's a rookie. And this is a game where I see that this is kind of a game where like New England wants to like get over the top as like, kind of a contender. And I think Bill Belichick knows that Mack Jones is still a rookie. So I think he's going to water down the playbook a little bit. And like I said, the Panthers have the second best secondary in the NFL as of right now. So I wouldn't play Mack Jones even after a good week last week. Asher.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ryan Tannehill. The Rams just picked up Von Miller. That line is scarier than it ever has been before.
But we don't know if Von Miller's playing.
I think he is playing. I think he was actually
still, even with that, dude. Like, I don't trust Tannehill without Henry because that's the other factor.
Bro, I'm not saying it's a bad. I'm not saying it's a bad pick.
Either way, that line is going to be all over Tannehill this week, especially with Derrick Henry. I mean, the Rams are going to come into this matchup knowing that Derrick Henry is not in the backfield and he can't just plow him over. The Rams are not going to be shy on that defensive line. They're not going to be shy. Tannehill is going to have a day on the ground. That's exactly what I see. So he's my sit him.
I think Von Miller ends up playing as well, whether it be on a snap count or not, because obviously we're in week 9 or 10. I mean, there's 7 more weeks of the regular season before you kind of have to they probably want to get him acclimated into their system. Not that it's hard, their system, because they just say sack the quarterback. But all right, Tom, how about you?
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't hammer this point home anymore, Justin, but I am sitting Trevor Lawrence versus Buffalo. There is no universe where he has more than like 15 points, I'm pretty sure. He's going to get intercepted probably 2-3 times. He's going to get sacked a ton because his offensive line can't stop Buffalo in general. And none of the receivers are really going to be able to get open because those Buffalo corners are underrated. They're really good, and they've been holding the air yards in check as well. So I don't see any way that Lawrence scores more than 15. Except
to reiterate that my Buffalo defense pick was the best. Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer towards the end of games, they're both like antsy little like babies basically. And if they're losing or not playing well, they try too hard to maybe get on the board or something like that. I see a couple late turnovers here. Possibly even 1 or 2 defensive touchdowns as well. There's just no way that I don't think there's any way that Jacksonville puts up more than 13 points, and I don't think there's any way that Trevor Lawrence throws under 2 interceptions. So, all right, Asher, we'll go running backs. You?
Yeah, this should be an obvious sit unless everybody's around the hype about Eagles running backs, but please sit Boston Scott. Don't start Boston Scott this week. For the love of God, they have 3 running backs in their system. I understand between Kenneth Gainwell, Jordan Howard, Boston Scott. I know Jordan Howard and Boston Scott both led last week, 2 TDs each. Don't start them. For the love of God, do not start Boston Scott. Chargers are going to run up the score against Eagles defense. They're going to need to throw the ball. And if they're going to throw the ball to the flats, it's going to be to Kenneth Gainwell. It's not going to be Boston Scott. Boston Scott's more of a goal line running back. That's where he got his 2 TDs. So don't suffocate in the hype. Please sit Boston
He's
Scott.
touchdown dependent.
I cannot stress that enough. Don't start Boston Scott.
Unless you're one of those like teams in one of those leagues where everyone has like 5 running backs on their bench, and you're like, well, I had Miles Sanders and I need a guy. Like there is that scenario where if you're just looking for like a ceiling play, like yes, play the touchdown dependent running back. But like if you're looking just as flex and you're like, oh, I could play, Boston Scott or I could play Marvin Jones. Like take Marvin Jones, he'll at least get some PPR points.
Do not put Boston Scott in this week.
Okay, Tom.
I know that I said Pittsburgh versus Chicago is going to eat, but I really, really hate Khalil Herbert this week, just in general. Like, he's been a great plug-and-play guy for the Bears, but there's a chance that Montgomery returns this week versus Pittsburgh. So if you're like me and you have Khalil Herbert, but you don't have David Montgomery, take him out of your lineup until game time. And I know you risk the chance of him playing and having another great fantasy outing, but this Pittsburgh defense is really good, and they are pretty good, I guess, I think, against running backs. they allowed the 6th fewest fantasy points per contest to running backs. It's already a bad matchup, and then you got to factor in Montgomery might even come in, even if it's just on a pitch count like we see with Kittle today. Even if Montgomery just comes back in on a pitch count, there's a chance that he siphons enough targets and enough touches away from Khalil Herbert to make neither of them fantasy relevant. So until we get full confirmation as to the status of David Montgomery, if you have Khalil Herbert but not the other, I would take him out and look for fantasy points elsewhere.
All right, I feel that. All right. I had James Robinson, but it looks like he's out. So I'm gonna go.
James Robinson is out.
Yeah. I just checked. I'm gonna go with Jeremy McNichols. He's he's Derrick Henry's backup. I think a lot of people are gonna think go right to the backup and play him. They did bring in Adrian Peterson, who will get some carries, but that doesn't matter as much as the fact that they're probably just going to end up passing the ball a lot more than they usually do. So, yeah, I don't see any value in McNichols or Peterson this week. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I don't really see any valuable points from them.
In one league, I picked up both of them. But then I needed a wideout because Corey Davis was out and I didn't have a 4th. So I ended up trading Peterson to my dad for Bateman because I was going to cut him anyway. And he offered me Bateman like previously. But I was going to hold on and see. Huh?
That's a good pickup for Adrian Peterson. That's a good pickup.
Yeah, well, my dad needed a running back, so it worked out. But I just – what was I saying? I forget where I was going. Oh, I was going to hold the both of them and see which one's going to do better. But I think just going forward, like this is just going to be a split backfield where it's one of those void backfields where too many people touch the ball, kind of like the Eagles, where there's not really going to be enough fantasy points to go around.
Yeah, I feel that. Just a quick update, Tom. Guess who's going to be who's the new member of Justin's Pirate team this week?
Who's that?
Derrick Henry.
Why?
Because I don't know who else to pick up.
Take their best player.
That is their best player.
But he's hurt until the end of the season.
Yeah, that man's out for the rest of the season.
I'll send you both my roster. It is going to benefit me more than anything at the end of the year when Derrick Henry is on my team.
Is this like a keeper league or like a dynasty
pirate league?
So it's done.
I don't know.
Like you can't. I don't.
The pirate league where I pick up a winner from every team.
I understand that.
Yes, I know what a pirate league is.
What?
Why would you pick up Derrick Henry? He's out for the rest of the season. The season's over after that.
So if it's a dynasty league, but it's a pirate league.
I thought he was coming back.
No, he's not coming back.
Oh.
Not for the fantasy season.
Oh, then I don't know who I'm picking up then because the team I'm playing sucks. I'll probably just take all their money. Okay.
Fair enough.
Let's go wide receivers.
Did you do your running back? Oh, yeah, you said McNichols.
Yeah, the Titans guys. Yeah. Wide receiver, Asher or Tom, we'll start with you. Go ahead.
It's funny that you went with Mack Jones as your quarterback, Justin, because I actually had written down before the show Jacoby Myers. I very much hate the matchup versus Carolina in general. But if you look back over the past 5-6 weeks, he started off being that number one target and then has progressively gotten less targets as we've gone on, and to the point where he's now averaging 8 points over the past 3 games. People are saying that he's going to have the uptick because Mack Jones is going to need to look for him. First of all, I never understand why anyone had him on roster in the first place because he still hasn't scored a touchdown in the NFL. I get he had all the PPR points, but come on, you got to catch a touchdown. In some leagues, you need touchdowns to be relevant. Like in my one league, our scoring system is way different, so everyone's very touchdown dependent. But Myers is going up against Carolina, as Justin said, which is a very, very, very elite pass defense. I think, Justin, you said second in pass defense?
Second.
Plus, he's going to be going up against Gilmore most of the day, where it's the revenge game. So he's going to be bullying Jacoby Myers all day long. So I very much hate Myers this week more than usual.
All right. Asher?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a bold prediction here. I'm going to go with sitting Cortland Sutton this week.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. So it's a bit of a bold prediction. Cortland
My
Sutton
bold prediction didn't work out last week. Just remember.
Yeah, but hopefully this works out this week. If anybody watched Denver last week, Jerry Jeudy came back. He seemed a little hobbled. I'm not going to lie. He did not seem like he had his step, the step that he usually has. Considering that, I see Cortland Sutton coming in as a wide receiver 1 as far as Dallas's eyes go. And I feel like Trevon Diggs is going to eat up that matchup, considering Teddy Bridgewater, his short pass accuracy is great. Trevon Diggs might be the best cutoff defensive back in the league. I'm just saying that now. He has 6 or 7 interceptions now. He might be the best short range cutoff defensive back in the league. And if he can cut off that connection, I feel like Trevon Diggs is going to eat up that matchup, and I feel like Cortland Sutton's not going to be to play this week.
I don't hate that pick, and we can argue about Trevon Diggs tomorrow maybe, but Trevon Diggs is not anywhere near a top 10 defensive back in this league. He's a scheme player. But like I said, we can talk about that later. Tom, did you already go with your wide receiver?
I did. I went with Jacoby Myers.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go with Devonta Smith this week.
I love that. That was my other choice. That was my backup if someone went Myers.
I've actually liked it. I've grown to like Devonta Smith. I still kind of think like any given day or any given Sunday, he's going to get tackled and just break in half. So there is credence to that. But it's wild. The Eagles are so wildly inconsistent with their play calling and what they're doing. I think they're probably going to rush the ball a ton this week. If you look at Devonta Smith's like stat lines, like he'll have 10 targets one week, and then the next week he'll have like 3. So he clearly is in a scheme right now with a quarterback that just is kind of like, we're going to go how the game goes. So I guess this is Devonta Smith sort of a high ceiling, really low floor. And I think he hits a low floor today, especially because the Chargers defensive backfield isn't that bad. And Asante Samuel Jr. is very good. So
I think Asante Samuel is out this week.
Well, like I said, if it doesn't really matter, it doesn't matter to me. So don't tell me things like that because it's not going to make me change my pick. So unless it involves the Browns or the Cardinals.
Your fantasy teams.
Well, there's no defensive players on the fantasy team. So
that's fair.
Maybe that's what I'm going to do. Maybe I'm just going to become an expert in the defensive fantasy, whatever that's called.
IDP.
I'm going to be great. All right, let's go to our tight ends. Asher, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Albert Okwuegbunam.
No,
the tight end that's coming in for Noah Fant. I don't like any of the receivers, including tight ends, coming into this game. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is going to have the game to be able to throw to any of his pass catching guys against Dallas's defense. I'm going to say this just based off last week. I know the Vikings have had their issues with whether they're going to go with the run game or the pass game, but Kirk Cousins, he threw only short passes all game because he was afraid to go deep. And I feel like Teddy Bridgewater is going to have the exact same thing. And even if he tries to get the ball to Okwuegbunam, I don't think he's going to have the day that he thinks he's going to have. So I'm going to sit Okwuegbunam.
Okay.
I'm going to save my comments for later. Aquaman has my heart.
Okay, so go on and make your pick now.
I wasn't sure if you wanted to go or not.
Who's Aqua?
So when I was doing this show,
I guess my point is for anyone, like I'm more outside the fantasy world than this, so I don't think it really matters because I don't think people really watch this for fantasy. But there are a lot of people, Asher, that if they just tuned in right now, they would have been like, that's not a human being. Like the name you just said, they would have just been like, so I would like to preface that by I would like to just preface that by saying that's why I pick people with names that people know. It's because maybe that 1% outside that isn't like really smart in fantasy football is kind of like me, and that's why I give my picks to.
Well, I'm sorry, but Okwuegbunam is the tight end 1 this week for the Broncos because Noah Fant is out.
Please call him.
You're 100% right. I'm just saying there are people like me out there that are like, that's an alien.
Yeah,
An
that's not a real
alien
person.
human being.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, fair enough.
Sounds like you have a stroke every time you say his name.
and like I said, that's not the majority. There's not the majority of people that listen or watch this, but there's one or two out there that I see you, I like you. So all right, Tom, go ahead.
Okay. I am tired of getting screwed by this guy week in and week out. I have him somewhere in my, start, sit, sleep every single week. And wherever I have him is always wrong. So I'm finally going to put Tyler Higbee in the sit-em tight end spot. I'm sick and tired of this man coming in and out with 5 fantasy points, 7 fantasy points per week. He's been held to under 50 yards in 7 consecutive outings, but the only way he's broken the 10-point mark is through a garbage time touchdown. And they're playing the Titans today, so they have Kevin Byard on him. And when he's on tight ends, the Titans have only given up 25 or more yards to 2 tight ends this year. I'm still waiting for his splash game, but it's not going to come today versus Tennessee. I think they just are going to lock him up.
You know what's weird about Higbee, though, is he's still a top 12 tight end in PPR leagues.
I know.
Which is weird.
It's because he gets he'll get 4 targets a game, catch all 4 of them, and have it be for 30 yards. I'm like, dude, how I can walk 30 yards.
Yeah.
I don't understand sometimes with it, and he gets garbage time touchdowns. So
hey Tom, no one cares about your pick anymore. You went on too long. I'm gonna have to bring on the Oscar music next time. I'm just gonna start playing you guys off when you talk too long, because this whole position and this whole day was really it's really about this pick for me.
Great.
My bad.
It's going to be the highlight of the show, huh?
This guy, he's already on my
benching
bad
Travis
side.
Kelce.
He's already on my bad side. I don't like him. He went to a very bad university. I'm sitting Pat Freiermuth this week. Yes, the Bears have only given up 25 catches to tight ends all year. And when their linebacking core isn't that bad. It's not the worst part of their defense. And I just hate Pat Freiermuth right now. So if you play him, you talk about him or speak of him, I'm probably just going to block you. So, but no, he actually, the Bears are actually good against tight ends. So,
hey Tom, I don't know if I'll be able to come on the show next week after my sleeper pick.
You
I love it.
What was the guy's name last week, Tom? Seth? No, was it Seth? Sal. Yeah, you and Sal, of course, you just have to both fall in love with Freiermuth, and then he just straight up castrates me an hour and a half later. Fuck.
We were sitting there. We both had him as sleeper tight end picks, and he put up a touchdown, 14 points, and it was great.
All right, moving on. Rapid fire defenses. Tom.
New Orleans versus Atlanta. I am very afraid.
Asher.
Yeah, I'm going with Bengals defense against Cleveland.
You're sitting them?
Yeah, I'm sitting Bengals defense.
That's true. We play really good without Odell Beckham. I'm going with Denver's defense versus Dallas. Dak's playing, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
I thought so. All right, cool. All right, let's go to our sleepers. Let me make sure I don't have one that I really want to say.
I can open because mine was Tyrod, and we already touched on him and talked about it for a minute. So I'm very hopeful that he's going to tear up that Miami defense.
All right, Asher, then we'll go to you.
All right. This is going to be really odd considering who I'm a fan of. But I'm so excited about this pick. I'm going Jordan Love against KC. I love Jordan Love this week, and let me tell you why. He has been sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. He has not been pressured into a situation for the past 1.5 seasons to play an NFL snap. I feel like he takes everything that he has learned this game, especially against KC. This should be an air raid game. I know that KC has had its ups and downs with turnovers whatsoever. Like, it doesn't matter. Block that out of your minds. I feel like this is going to be an air raid game, and I feel like Jordan Love is going to put the Packers on the map this week, showing that he should be the starting quarterback for this team, letting Aaron Rodgers go for good. to the Steelers. I like Jordan Love this week.
I
like
can't
Jordan
get behind that. I can see this. I can see this being a game like a Jet game the past couple weeks.
Nope.
We're gonna see the backup come in. He's gonna look either mediocre or crap, and then we're gonna see an injury happen, and Blake Bortles is gonna come in through the blazing sun and lead the Packers to victory and earn himself a starting job again somewhere.
Jordan Love is going to light up KC. I promise you.
I disagree.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
I disagree. I hate Jordan Love.
I love Jordan Love.
You love you some love.
I love me some love, bro.
You just like Jordan Love because you hope, like, never mind.
I hate the Packers. What do you mean? I have no reason to love Jordan Love. Whatever. I have no reason to, but I like him this week.
All right. My sleeper quarterback, once again, the best pick of the bunch, Jimmy G versus the Cardinals. The Cardinals are I think the Cardinals are going to get down early. I don't think they're going to win this game without Kyler Murray, or with Kyler Murray severely not being able to play as well as he can. I think they'll get down early. And I think Jimmy G will put up 20, 22 points. So yeah, if you have Kyler Murray, maybe go pick up Jimmy G. I don't know. All right. Running backs. Let's go. Tom, you can go first.
I don't know if this necessarily counts as a sleeper, but he's only projected for 13 fantasy points.
Alvin
so I'm going to say
Alvin Kamara. Remember when I got yelled at for making him my sleeper? I do. Go ahead, Tom. Let's hear yours.
I'm going with Josh Jacobs versus the Giants. He hasn't really played over the past, what has it been, 2 weeks, I think. Where is he? Do we have him on our dynasty team, Justin? Yeah, we do.
Who?
We have Josh Jacobs. I didn't realize.
Yeah, we always do.
The Giants have been horrible versus fantasy running backs this year. They're allowing the 9th most fantasy points. They've given up at least 100 yards from scrimmage to 7 different ball carriers through 8 weeks. With everything that's been going on with the Raiders, Zay Jones moving into the Z spot, I think is what I saw, meaning there's more workload for other receivers through the air, but I think that it could also lead to Josh Jacobs getting some PPR touches and receiving yards through the air. So I'm having Josh Jacobs as my sleeper.
All right, Asher?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mark Ingram, the two-headed monster.
Yes.
Back in Atlanta. It's back in Atlanta. It's back in the Saints backfield. I'll tell you what, against Atlanta, the two-headed monster has to be back. Jameis Winston out for the year. They're going to have to rely heavily on the run game, and the two-headed monster is back. I love Mark Ingram in this situation. When Alvin Kamara can't be out there, Mark Ingram is going to light it up. I love Mark Ingram this game.
I like that pick. Also, so I'm a fan of the number changes this year, the rules where they can do whatever they want with their numbers. I got to say, though, have you seen Mark Ingram, what number he's wearing?
Isn't it 14?
Yeah, he's wearing 14.
It's opposite of Kamara.
Yeah, it's 14. It's like very weird. So it's going to be a little weird seeing 14 run the ball. But other than that, I've really liked the jersey and the number changes. All right. My sleeper running back is, who knows? I hope he's not out. Maybe he is. I don't know. Darrell Henderson versus the Titans for the Rams. I think the Titans are still have a horrible defense. And I think the Rams could – I don't know what the spread is in that game. I think the Rams are going to get up early and just look to kill the clock the rest of the game. So Darrell Henderson should have a good game. And you said earlier, Asher, he's a little bit of a threat out of the backfield as well. But, yeah, I like him versus the Titans. I just think the Titans are going to have a really bad game. I think it's going to be really tough for them to kind of find an identity without Derrick Henry. All right. Wide receivers, Asher, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Hunter Renfrow against the New York Giants. Henry Ruggs, obviously everyone knows the news story. We don't have to go into depth. But Henry Ruggs is obviously not going to be playing. And Hunter Renfrow finally has his spot in the slot. Who else to go to besides him and Bryan Edwards? Hunter Renfrow is going to have a hell of a game against the New York Giants, and I have Hunter Renfrow as my big slot sleeper this week.
Okay. I like that.
I love that.
I don't like him though. All right, Tom.
I am going with a guy, and I'm giving praise to you, Justin. I'm pretty sure you called him out early last week. I am falling in love with Van Jefferson now that Deshaun Jackson is out of the equation. I love him as a guy to stash for the rest of the year. I love him today versus the Titans. He's going to get his full-time work in the slot now. Or I should just say in this top three, because I know Kupp and Woods kind of also rotate into the slot a couple of times. But he had a huge catch last week and a pretty big game last week. We all know Tennessee's defense is pretty soft through the air. I think that he could potentially have a very replicated week or a better week this week now that he's going to see some more time.
All right. All right. My sleeper receiver is there's a couple I could go with here. This guy's not going to be – he's going to be available in most of your leagues. I would wait to see how he does this week and then pick him up. But Rashad Higgins for the Browns with OBJ out, especially Rashad Higgins, his production after week 7 or 8 when OBJ went out last year skyrocketed. He's Baker's favorite target outside of Jarvis Landry. Like I said, I would wait to pick him up, see how he does this week. But if he does this week well and the Browns are still throwing the ball going forward, he's going to get anywhere from 8 to 10 targets a game, if not more. He's Baker's favorite receiver, like I said. He's also playing on a 1-year deal and is coming down the edge here. So he's going to want to prove himself to get the Browns to get a better contract. But I do like Rashad Higgins. I do got to say he's got to stop doing his stupid TD dance because he doesn't score enough touchdowns to do it. So I don't know why he does.
It's funny because I know exactly what dance you're talking about. I actually know what it is.
Yeah. Every time he scored once this year and he did it. I was like, Jesus, all right.
Yeah, bro, right. You need to pick it up then.
Let's go to our tight ends.
All right, here's where we're gonna have some controversial talk, and I love it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. Yeah, Asher, we'll go with you first. Yeah, we'll go with you first, then we'll go with Tom.
It's interesting because Justin and Asher have beef, and I and Asher have beef.
Yeah, you guys. I mean, obviously Justin's not gonna like this pick, but I'm going Pat Freiermuth. Baby Gronk, as I like to refer to him as. He's going to have a huge game this week. Listen, he showed he's a viable option as the big man for short gainage or even in the red zone. Against Chicago, that's going to be huge for the Steelers. If Big Ben wants to get the ball to anybody who needs to go up for the ball, Pat Freiermuth is going to be that guy. I like him this week, and he's my sleep tight end.
I love it.
I don't hate that pick. I mean, I think at this point though, it's more of just he's more of a boom. He's more of a boom or bust tight end. So I just don't think he's going to have a great end. What?
He's a boom tight end.
Yeah, he could be a bust.
No.
Okay, fine. All right. Yeah. All right, fine. If he doesn't score at least 10 points this week, I'll
apologize. I'll apologize to you formally on the show.
I don't think you need to apologize to me. I think you need to apologize to the city of Chicago next week. And then if he does well, then I'll apologize to him.
All right, the whole city. All right.
You have to apologize to Chicago.
All right.
We have to make this video. If this happens and if Pat Freiermuth gets more than 10 points, we have to get Justin in a chair with a formal apology and then blow up his Twitter, up his Instagram.
If he gets more than 10 points, I expect a formal apology in MLA format.
In MLA format, and then a video copy of it so that we could send it to his DMs on Twitter.
Yeah, so funny, guys. All right, well, I'm going to win the bet, so I don't really care.
Okay.
Tight end, Tom. You guys have beef.
Yeah, I mean, man, how are you saying Aquaman's not gonna be making plays, man? He was already involved in the passing offense when Fant was there. Now he's getting all the red zone targets.
Not going to happen.
You're saying, wait, did you have Cortland Sutton as your sit too?
I did, yeah. I had him. And
so then who's going to be scoring all of these points?
Nobody.
Nobody.
They're getting shut out.
They're going to get shut out. Okay.
Yep.
Aquaman is about to have great day. He's a perfect DFS play because I think right now I looked on FanDuel. I think he's like the minimum 4,000, maybe like 4,500. I mean, everything is lined up. He's not even going up against Trayvon Diggs. He's going to get the safety on him.
I never said he was going up against Trayvon Diggs. I said Cortland Sutton was.
I love Aquaman. Aquaman has my whole heart this week.
All right, cool, Tom.
I'm going with it
a lot. I'll go with CJ Uzoma from the Bengals. I don't even know who he is really, or if he's a tight end.
Nobody does,
but
except for 2 weeks out of the season.
I've now turned on like the Bengals game like twice this season, and he scored like 4 touchdowns. So I'm gonna go with him. And the Browns are just if you've watched any of the Browns games, they're very viable to give up the big play. It's just they don't have very good communication in their secondary. They're going to get beat on play action at least twice this game. So I like Uzoma. He seems to be, if Joe Burrow peels off of Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd, he just goes to Uzoma. I don't know how to say his name. I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. I don't know. But yeah, I'll go with Uzoma. Sorry. All right. Defense, rapid fires.
49ers against Arizona.
Las Vegas versus the Giants.
Las Vegas versus the Giants. Cincinnati versus the Browns. All right. Do we have any questions? Anything like that? Also, I can give out a couple props. I really like Justin Jefferson over 77.5 yards this week. That's in the Minnesota game. What was the other ones I was looking at? I don't really like any of the spreads this year. Oh yeah. I also like Jalen Waddle over 5.5 receptions. And I don't know. I'll tweet out some if I come across any. I don't really like any of the lines this week. Usually I bet on the Browns. I would not touch the Browns this week. It's not going to be a good game to bet the Browns, even though they are +2. Yep, I'm going to bet the Browns +2, so that's good. All right. Anything else, fellas?
I gotta go, boys.
Asher, you can leave whenever you want, man. This is your show.
Yeah. Sorry, I needed to tell you guys. I don't want to leave you guys hanging. All
right, man. Well, I think we'll probably see you tomorrow. If not, we'll see you next Sunday.
No, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Cool. All right. Well, just remember though, watch that guy. Watch him. I expect tomorrow morning that once he has a bad game, I expect the
Pittsburgh's on Monday night.
Yeah, it'll be red tomorrow. So
it'll have to be Tuesday. It'll have to be Tuesday then.
We're gonna have to talk about this feud again tomorrow. That's the fun part.
We absolutely will.
Because the game is Monday night.
Whatever. All right. Whatever. All right. Later, Asher. We'll see you
peace
tomorrow.
Out, boys.
See you later.
Good pick.
And this is actually good. We got Asher out for a little bit because I know this is something that I brought up that I wanted to talk about. We can just do 5-6 minutes real quick. Tom, me and you have been talking about this basically since we started doing this podcast. Why are more teams not doing exactly what the Los Angeles Rams are doing?
I have no idea because it's perfect. And we've talked about how perfect it is.
It's unbelievable. Because I've been talking about it this week, when it happened. I even talked to Zach, and Zach kind of agreed with me. They traded a first-round pick for Jalen Ramsey back when, or maybe even was two first-round picks. Either way, if you have the number 1 overall pick for 3 years in a row, you're lucky if you get a guy as good as Jalen Ramsey. And then them taking on this Von Miller for 2 second
picks.
It's insane. I understand the contract. It's a little bit different. The Rams to take on that money, but
that was the great thing about this trade. They got Denver to cover $9 million of the $9.5 million that was left. They're only paying $500,000 for his services this year.
I didn't know that either. But I mean, it's just it blows my mind because I saw that happen. I saw that go down, and obviously I didn't expect to be a first-round pick for Von Miller, but I expect and that's the other thing I don't understand about the NFL either. I guess is there aren't really any player for player trades. And
Yeah.
I understand it's harder than it is in the NBA because the salaries are way different and like just way different between positions. But it just, like I said, we've been talking about this since it started. There's absolutely no reason right now if you're a contending team, like say if you're the Cardinals, and the Cardinals even did it kind of by trading for Zach Ertz, who we've all known is still a pretty good pass catching tight end. So it like when this came out on Wednesday or whatever, Tuesday, whatever it was, I was like, this is insane. They know exactly what they're doing. It's crazy. And that's what almost kind of made the OBJ. It made me understand the OBJ thing, because even if the Browns would have covered even half or more of the money that they owe him, I think they could have found a trade partner for him. But then again, I don't think people were really worth looking at giving up. Like, to me, a 6th-round pick, even as Odell Beckham is right now, a 6th-round pick isn't worth Odell Beckham. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
Well,
I'd rather have on my team running decoy routes.
I know you're the Browns guy, and I'm not sure if you saw this, but I did see an article that talked about Odell Beckham to the Saints, because that was a thing up until the hour before the deadline. They had a deal in place, and they didn't disclose what the deal was, but the deal was fine. The only thing that the two teams couldn't agree on was how to take on Odell's salary. I think that after seeing the Von Miller trade and the Broncos covering, like I said, $9 million of the $9.5 million that he was owed, I think because the Saints are in the salary cap hell that I have specifically talked about on this show a lot.
Yeah.
Like I am a very big person. I'm into all the cap, and I understand like where the Saints are at right now. They are in salary cap hell, and they will be for the next 10 years. They were. I'm pretty sure, and I read this on. This was more of like a hypothesis. No, that's not the right word. It's like a theory as to what it was. The Saints were trying to get the Browns to cover, I think, half of the contract, so that he fit in perfectly. That put him right up on the luxury tax or whatever, or at the very max most. And the Browns wouldn't do it. They said that we'll take 25%, let's say. That extra 25% wouldn't work with the Saints, and they didn't want to have to cut anyone because they think they have a contending roster, even with Winston hurt. So that's where the trade kind of fell through. And I don't know if you saw that or you can provide some more insight, but that is just what I saw.
I don't have a lot of insight on that. I mean, I saw, like, honestly, with the whole OBJ thing, I was just like, Baker is definitely, it's not Baker's fault, but he's definitely not the guy I think we all thought he was. And like, the more I read into it, like I said, and you kind of agreed, it just isn't a good system for Odell. And that probably should have been looked at before they decided to trade a 1st-round pick for Odell, who was younger at the time, 24, 25. But what the trades are going for now, it's like, I don't think you would have had, looking back, I don't think you would have to give up a 1st-round pick. But that also, like, I think Andrew Berry is a very good GM. I think he's probably one of the top 5 young guys in the NFL. Mm-hmm. But hearing that, because I didn't do any really reading on it, but like hearing that kind of makes me not angry. But the only thing that I'm kind of scared about Odell is that, like, obviously he can still play. Like I said, he's a rich man's Deshaun Jackson. He'll probably catch 3 touchdowns by the end of the year. Giving him to New Orleans, you get him out of the conference then. You get him out of the conference. So, like, that's what I don't understand. Like, I don't want him to come back, because it's very possible he could go sign with Baltimore, or he could sign.
Yeah, that was my thing. We didn't talk about it because we were talking about the Saints and the Packers being the perfect spots. If he were to go to Baltimore with Lamar Jackson and Hollywood Brown and that offense, which is just explosive, I think that is really his ideal situation. Even though the Packers is the perfect situation and the Saints is a good situation, I think the most ideal for him is Baltimore, because they're a contender and they'll make him the number 1, which is what he wants.
Yeah. Who's Atlanta playing today?
New Orleans.
Okay. Just wondering.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's got Matt Ryan as the backup, but he's got Kyler Murray too. I just don't want to play Matt Ryan.
Yeah, no. If he's looking for a guy that's available in most leagues, he could pick up Brissett versus Houston. I think he will probably get 15, 20 points minimum because it's Houston and he has the receivers. Before I went with Van Jefferson as my sleeper wide receiver, I actually had Waddle and Parker as like like the Miami receiving room, but specifically those two as my sleepers. And I could have solidified that having Brissett in, and I actually believe that they play almost a little bit better with Brissett in over Tua. Almost. Tua looks for Waddle a lot more, but as a whole, those two, Brissett would be a solid pickup, and Tyrod Taylor, if he's also like quarterback in that game, is going to have a good game.
Yeah, I don't know who I said for my sleeper tight end because I kind of just run through it. But
did you actually set your lineup for my league so that you don't have Najee Harris on your bench?
Doing it now. Doing it now. What? Okay, yeah, I'm on it now. Okay.
Yeah, because you have bye weeks. You have Tunyon, who's on IR. Kyler Murray.
Right. I don't even know if players to play this game.
You can move Baker into your quarterback. You can take out Sermon for Najee. Tight end wise, you can put in Austin Hooper.
Yeah, I know. I'll figure it out. What do you think? Should I play Baker or Ryan Fitzpatrick? I don't know.
Fitzpatrick's still on the IR, and he's on.
I know it's a joke, Tom. I mean, Baker could throw 12 interceptions. You never know.
Never know.
The only other thing I wanted to say, because I know we're not going to get the chance to talk about it tomorrow because we just do mostly football. Obviously, it wasn't a good day yesterday for Manchester United as they got killed by City 2-0. But I know I texted you when it happened, and it really is. Cristiano Ronaldo is far and away the most clutch athlete ever. And it's insane. It's insane. Watching him play soccer, I've never seen anything like it. It's insane. He's basically in the Champions League. He scored in the last 3 games, game winners or game tires. So he's insane. He owns everyone, and it's great. But oh shoot, I gotta take Mike Evans out too. Allen Robinson, first of all, if you're the Bears, why did you not trade Allen Robinson?
Because he is the only talent that they have to help Justin Fields. But they're not throwing it to him. You have the talent and you don't want to get rid of him because he's the only talent, but you don't want to use him. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. All right. So 12:45. 10 o'clock tomorrow, correct?
I believe so, but we have to double check with Asher that because whatever time we went on last Monday worked for him best. So we'll have to double check with Asher. It might be 12 because he's 5 hours ahead. So 5 o'clock gets out of work there. So
yeah, either way, we'll see everyone tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know what prediction or the Jets already played. I think the Browns lose a close one. I think it sucks they're in Cincinnati. The last thing I'll say about that is it wouldn't surprise me if they lose this game and then maybe lose one of the next 2 is after that, and they just decide to shut Baker down for the year, tell him to get the surgery, and but it really doesn't matter. It sucks. I'm not looking forward to watching the game, but whatever. No Jets for you. What are you even gonna do? I forgot what I did the other Sunday when the Browns played on Thursday night. All right, you got anything else, man? You're muted. You were muted. Okay. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today, guys. Like I said, we'll be back with our NFL recap tomorrow. Probably also recap some college football. Maybe recap UFC a little bit, but obviously mostly going to get into our NFL recap. Browns start here in about 20 minutes. So go Browns. Final prediction. Yeah, I'm changing it. I'm going to go Browns 24, Bengals 20. All right. That's going to do it. See you guys tomorrow.